Well, we're back at the Hamptons International Film Festival, and this is an amazing director right here. Why don't you tell everyone about your film?
Hi, my name is Lorrel Manning. I'm the writer-director of Happy New Year, which is in the Conflict and Resolution section of the Hamptons World International Film Festival. Happy New Year is the story of a war-torn Marine who returns stateside after 4 tours of Iraq and Afghanistan, and he's facing his toughest battle yet, which is battle against himself. It's a very hard-hitting yet entertaining look at the perils of PTSD, which is affecting about 20% of our veterans who are returning home today. Yeah.
What made you? What was the passion behind the film?
Well, I'm not a veteran, and neither is my lead actor, Michael Cuomo. About 7 years ago in 2004, I was randomly going through a bookstore, I think Barnes & Noble, and I came across a book called Purple Hearts Back from Iraq, which was written by a photographer by the name of Nina Berman. And what Nina did, she went and interviewed a group of men from the first wave of veterans to return from the war, and they had really, really brutal injuries, missing limbs, really severe burn scars, traumatic brain injury, that kind of thing. And so I saw this movie, not the movie, but I saw this film, not the film, but I saw this book, and I was quite heartbroken looking through it. So I bought it and took it home that night and I read it. And that begat my interest in the subject matter of vets and what life was like for them coming home. So flash forward about 3 years, I met a gentleman in Chicago who was an Iraq vet, and this conversation inspired me to sit down and write an 11-page play called Happy New Year. And it dealt with 2 veterans who were reuniting in a VA hospital on New Year's Eve. Sent it to my best friend, Michael Cuomo, and he called me up a couple of days later and said, "I've been crying for the last 2 hours. What did you do to me?" And he said, "We got to work on this." So we continued to develop the character. I got another actor together, and we just worked on this play for a little bit. And we were given the opportunity to perform it off Broadway at the Barra Group. And 6 months later, this would be this summer of 2007. And one night, a group of military mothers came in to see the film, see the play. And they said, "You guys should do something with this. You should make a short film out of it." So we put our heads together, raised some money, and by the end of the summer, we shot the short film. The short film went on the festival circuit throughout 2008, and there we met our executive producer, Ian Smith, and he encouraged me to expand the story into a feature film. Very daunting task. I was quite scared of that, and I said, I don't know if I can do this, but I started to really let the ideas just kind of flow in my head, and turned in a treatment a few weeks later to him and Michael, and they encouraged me to continue working on it. And so we set out to make a feature film based on this original play idea. And the feature film is broad in scope. And we wanted to, because neither one of us had a military background, I wanted to ensure as much accuracy as possible. So we set on this really difficult journey of interviewing as many veterans as possible. So over about a 6 to 8 month period, we interviewed veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, Desert Storm, Vietnam, World War II. I even did a brief stint as a VA volunteer, and just to ensure as much accuracy as possible. In 2009, we shot the film, edited in 2010, and here we are.
Amazing. Now, what is your background with filmmaking?
I went to Columbia Film School. I have an extensive background in theater. So when I graduated in Columbia about 10 years ago, I went back to the world of theater because I wanted to really just work on my chops as a director. I consider myself an actor's director, so I like to do both theater and film. And one thing that people say about the film, they're quite moved by, but they really talk about the performances, particularly Michael's performance and the performances of the whole cast. And I like to think I had a hand in doing that and building a cohesive unit with these amazing actors and getting everyone on the same page. And I'm really, really proud of the work that we all did together.
So how can we find out more about your film? Obviously, I'm here at the festival, so I have privilege, but how can my fans and viewers find out more about your film?
We are playing the festival circuit. We world premiered at South by Southwest in March. We've been playing all over the U.S. and throughout the world. We just got back from Oldenburg, Germany, where we won the Audience Award for Best Film. The Hamptons Film Festival is our New York premiere. We screen tomorrow at 12:15 and Saturday. And then again on Monday, the 17th at 7 p.m. And then we're going to various film festivals after that. Then we are going to be distributed in New York and Los Angeles and some other key areas in the U.S. in the first quarter of 2012. To find out more about the film and to follow us, I would say for everyone to go to our website, which is www.happynewyearfilm.com. That's www.happynewyearfilm.com. There you can follow up, find out anything you want about the film, sign up for our newsletter, and also you can sign up, follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Well, congratulations on all your accomplishments. I know it's a lot of hard work.
You have no idea. I'm sure you do. You've interviewed a lot of filmmakers, but it's been our lives for the last 5 years. But the reward, the greatest reward for me, we've won several awards on the festival circuit. We've gotten a lot of accolades from people that see the film, but the greatest reward for me is when someone who served comes and says, "Thank you for making this film. I really felt you told my story on screen, so thank you very much." And that's the greatest reward of any of them.
You know, I always wanted to go to New York. I promised Lisa I'd take her there before I left. And I figured we'd check out the Statue of Liberty or go see the Empire State Building. Maybe check out a few Broadway shows. Yeah, she was all excited. It'll be the first thing we did when I got back.
We're back. We're here at the Hamptons International Film Festival, and we're here with Michael. Now, Michael, your film isn't just in the festival that you're acting in. You're part of a special segment within the festival. Tell us more about it.
Well, we're part of the conflict and resolution section, mainly because our film deals with post-traumatic stress disorder and the rise in suicide within the U.S. military. I play a character who's done 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, has been brutally injured both physically and mentally, and is now recovering in the psychiatric ward of a VA hospital, trying to find a new sense of life post-war.
Now, that sounds like a hard piece. How was that for you to get ready?
It was very difficult. Myself and the director, Lorrel Manning, had an opportunity to interview over 80 veterans from various wars, which allowed me to better understand what it's like to come home and to be forever changed by what you've experienced. In addition to that, I had an opportunity to work with a military advisor who had been a drill instructor in the Marine Corps, who put me through boot camp, one-on-one, which was really intense. Because for me to do this, I'm not a veteran, so for me to do this, I really needed to understand what it's like to indoctrinate yourself into that type of discipline. It literally changes the way you talk, the way you hold your body, and the way you see the world. And, Marines are trained to never give up. So as a character that's come home injured, throughout the film, I'm really fighting to regain a sense of normalcy in my life, even though that's not really possible anymore.
I'm amazed at what you're saying, and the fact that you took so much time and detail into your part. How long did it take you?
Well, the piece began as an off-Broadway play. I was in the play 4 years ago, and there was a bit of a gap, between the play and the feature of about 2.5 years, which I had a lot of time to talk with veterans, work with medical advisors. My character is in a wheelchair in the film. I'm a paraplegic, so I had time to learn. I would wheel around New York City on my own, leading up to the shoot at night, go on the bus, go on the subway. It's interesting to see the world from that vantage point, and also how the world sees you as a young person who's disabled. So, it was like a 2.5 year development process between me and Lorrel Manning, the director. I read every draft of the script, gave notes, we talked. It was a very collaborative experience.
So did you go to school for acting? What's your history?
Yeah, I started acting kind of late. I went to college for business and writing, and then kind of left that behind, moved to New York and became an actor. I studied at, studios in the city, Spent some time at NYU. Studied with Joe Chaikin, who was a sort of an older Broadway director, an off-Broadway director. And, over the course of several years, did a lot of theater and really wanted to. I actually had major stage fright as a kid, which is why I wasn't an actor. And in order to overcome that, I really had to get out there and do live theater. So I traveled the country doing plays, and this, of course, was originally a play. So I was really immersed in the theater in the beginning of my career. This is my first lead role in a feature film.
Such a beautiful story. And one thing about me is all things are possible if you believe. And the fact that you overcame that.
Yeah.
What's your next project?
Well, Laurel and I really have a great working relationship. You see directors and actors working together a lot more and more these days. He's working on a script called Red House, which would shoot in fall of 2012. It's a road movie about an ex-convict and a kid on the run seeking redemption. And they sort of need each other to do so, and I'd be playing the convict. So that's the next project, shooting in about 10 months.
Well, you're a handsome man. So how can all the fans find out more about you? Are you on Facebook, Twitter?
I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Michael Cuomo. And of course, the film's website, happyNewYearFilm.com. And that's. And I live in Soho in New York City, so you'll see me patrolling the streets.
Okay, all the stalkers. Maybe you'll find them.